There are lots of power phrases, and I will entitle them PPZ, just so it phrases, power phrases, because I would put PF because phrase sounds like an F, but PPH doesn't sound right, so I'll put PPZ, and that means power phrases. And one of the power phrases that basically they say to watch saying this, of course, is God in vain, but it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. What's worse than that now is saying, I really don't care about blah, 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 or whatever subject is being talked about. Sometimes someone's talking about something, and people don't really care about the subject they're talking about, so I don't care about that, or I don't care about this, or I don't care about it. I don't care. Like, those things all apply to that subject, pertaining to how much you are being accurate about how much you don't care about that subject. So if you just say, I don't care, it's making you or your higher self think you don't care about anything. Unless that exact thing you're talking about is like, you know, you can't stand spinach. You're like, I can't stand spinach. And you mean it when you say it, it's going to get worse next time. And you're like, I don't really like spinach. Then the next time you try it, it might not be as bad. It really works that way. So if you say, I really don't care about, you know, Eskimos, like, I do care about Eskimos. And I mean it more saying I do care about Eskimos than saying, I don't care about Eskimos. I do care about Eskimos. Like, I felt the shift in my belief system being like, do you or don't you? I felt it just by saying it like that. Now, isn't that weird? Because basically it would be like saying, I don't care if people use the word Eskimo because the word Eskimo is gone now. I do care because I want to be able to say it without anyone thinking that I'm bad. Well, I just cured that in the human mind a little bit more than it is. I felt it. I felt the tingle saying, okay, it like grants me that little wish because it's not important whether people say Eskimo or not. So some people used to be offended, and now people won't be offended as much because now not only is it not a word, it's people don't care as much because I just made it so, and my face twinkled when I said it, so I know it's true. I know that sounds really weird, but it's true. My face twinkled. Like, I can change things and feel if they had any power or didn't have any power. That was a really little thing, so I could feel it. And I'm pinging right now, and I haven't pinged all day because I was in that low vibrational state earlier. And now the more I'm right and the more I'm, you know, interpreting things correctly, the more they're like, yep, he's catching us. And it's like, it's getting louder again. How cool. I mean, I'm actually explaining it so that when other people make contact, they'll understand in their body. It's going to show up certain ways in certain people the same way. Like the pinging in your head or the ringing in your ear, those kind of things are so known that that's going to be something. If you develop a new way, try to go back to at least including the old ways, like the pinging in your head. And, you know, if you develop a new way to communicate where you say, the wind blows and I feel it blow like, I feel that or I hear that. You know, you can tell people that, but also tell them, you know, but people also feel a pinging in their head. That's another way that they communicate, because they go by the way we use most common too. And when I say they, I mean all beings of all shape and size, because deep down within them is the same thing working. The same material is working within them, the same fabric, the same entity, the same being, DNA, spiritual material. It's so weird to say it like that, but that's what it is. It's like it's working within us all, and it goes according to how you believe, think, whatever, act. I mean, and those things are easily said by people who don't get it, but they can't explain it the way I'm telling you, because I'm explaining it because these are the rules of the game. Anyway, and when I say the game, it's basically saying this is how life works. It's not a game, but it's how life works. The entities are watching, and they're not physically hurting, so to them it's a game. But to us, it's real. So it's like shame on them for letting us do that. But let's not say shame. Let's understand them for trying to understand and figure out what we are and what they are and what they are. You know, like they don't know what they are. But by in turn, they don't know what we completely are. So no matter how much I know what a human being is playing the Earth game with an astral entity in them, that's just another level up. There's other people who already know that. But now I know that we're astral beings we're divine beings playing an astral game, playing an Earth game. Sometimes the astral beings don't know that they were playing a game because the divine being wanted to relearn it all over again. Like, there's levels to it. And the divine beings don't know how far they go because even God itself, himself, thyself, the most beautiful, God got me to this because I believed in God more than anything. And now I still believe in God, of course, because it got me to understanding what's going on with life. I mean, who wouldn't believe in God if it didn't lead them to that? Of course, I love God. So when I say God, I have a reason to say God. When I say Jesus, I have a reason to say Jesus. When I say Buddha, I have a reason to say Buddha now. Krishna was a word that I thought was funny. But now when I say it, I don't feel as weird. I still sort of do because my body used to. And my body cells need to hear it more, need to feel the confidence I say in it more. And then they'll get better. Just like, say like at one point in my life I said nigga. And like I said nigga. And there was no problem. Right there, it took me effort to say it seriously. But now when I say it stupid because it's a rude word that whether I mean it offensively, someone who's going to hear it is going to take it offensively. So that's why whether I mean it bad or not, it's bad. Because somebody could take it offensively. And then people could be like, and defend themselves and say, well, I didn't want it to offend them. Well, that's the little catch-22, man. You didn't want it to, but knowing that it does is a reason you shouldn't. Does that make sense? That's why we should have manners. Because it offends some people. But then the bad thing is, say you didn't mean to offend somebody with the burping thing. Like you burped at somebody and you didn't mean to offend anybody and there was no bother and somebody's like, say excuse me. That person who got on you about saying excuse me may have caused you problems then. And because you burped, you caused them a problem because it bothered them. But you didn't mean to, but it happens because you can't affect how other people respond to you unless they understand a little better. Like me, I understand more. So when someone burps, I'm never going to be like, yeah, gross. If they think it's funny, I'll go, ha, good one. If they don't think it's funny, I'm like, oh, excuse me. I'm like, oh, you're excused. And I mean it both ways because I understand their vibration is going a certain way and they need to balance out. And the way you balance out is by keeping yourself happy no matter what you do. If somebody kills somebody, it's because their vibration is so out of tune. To keep them happy, they feel like they got to kill that person. And then they kill that person, and oh boy, it didn't keep them happy. It made them way worse. And they get that afterwards, of course. It's obvious. But some people actually feel better after they do it. That's why they do it again. And they think the act of killing somebody was the greatest feeling they ever had at that point. Just like an addiction of drugs. It was the greatest feeling you ever had at that point. Just like an addiction to social media. The greatest feeling you ever had at that point. Just like an addiction to sugar and sweets when you're a baby. Greatest thing you ever had at that point. Just like the first food that you have isn't a baby food. Greatest thing you ever had at that point. Why can babies eat this stuff and not care? Because it's all they tasted up to that point until they had something else. And then you give them something else and then give them that again. They don't want that as much, but they'll take it because they're still used to it. Give them other stuff more often. They're not going to go back to baby food at age 5. You know what I'm saying? Perfect explanation of all these things. And I'm saying you have to be understanding that I know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, it's fine. I love you, and I have nothing with the best intention. I am Jesus, Buddha, God, all in Dan Alexander, because I'm playing the same game that their avatars did. That's why Jesus said he was the Father, the Son, whatever, because he was God, because the God entity actually was in him. Some people that don't feel like God is in them is because God, the entity that is named original God, isn't. But a being from him is in them. So in a way they are, but the real God isn't. So like there is a real God. That makes a lot more sense to me now. There is a real God and there is just the Word. But the Word is the real God. But that also means something on a different level because in words we only have certain meanings. So I just made a very hard thing to understand, but if you listen to that over, which I'm going to have to listen to over again, and hopefully it makes sense, that's how it works. Like, the word is the word is the word, and words mean something, but if you don't mean anything when you say it, the word doesn't mean anything. But when you got to watch what you say, because you say something loosely, it's out there vibrating somewhere, loosely. So just watch what you say, and watch how you feel when you say it. If you say something bad, do something to make up for it immediately. If you catch yourself doing something bad, pay more attention. You just got to pay more attention to yourself, all right? I love you guys. Got to go to work. Peace.